We're here with poet, author, songwriter, country star, discoverer of talent that, you've done more in a couple of days than I'll do in a lifetime, Red Steagall. And one of the things that we're teaching our kids is how you ride for the brand and what that represents. And the whole focus behind this initiative that we have is based on your poem that you wrote about riding for the brand and what it means. And would you like to tell us a little story about what riding for the brand means and to you how that's important?
Well, there's a certain set of values that people in agricultural society, even today, adhere to. And that came from our lessons from the good book when we were little kids. Mm-hmm. But that's honesty and integrity and loyalty and work ethic, a dedication to family, conviction about your belief in God, and most important, practicing common decency and respect for your fellow man every day you live. Well, when you ride for the brand and somebody signs your paycheck and you're depending on that person to keep you alive and give you money each month or each week, however you're paid, then you owe them your dedication in return to take care of their property, do what you tell them you'll do, be honest about it at all times, have a good work ethic. A day's pay is worth a day's work. Not a day's work is worth a day's pay.
Wow.
And that's what it means to ride for the brand, to be an honest person with dedication and conviction, compassion, respect, and loyalty. And that's what ride for the brand means.
So when growing up as a kid, when I spoke of this earlier, there was men and women in my life that weren't my parents, and I had wonderful parents, or have wonderful parents, that exemplified that each and every day and were the people that both spoke those values and lived those values. And, from a guy named Chimp Robertson and to, there's Wayne Porter, and I could go on and on and on with all of these people that were my basketball coaches, that were my Sunday school teachers, that were the people that were also the people who get on to me in public that weren't even my, it was nice about how that worked, those two, but it happened. Is there a story about riding for the brand, about something that some person that exemplified those values to you?
A personal experience. I wanted to be a cowboy. That's all I ever wanted to be. I lived in the little town of Sanford, and it was surrounded by the Sanford Ranch. Not far away was the Johnson Ranch, and that river country was, for 500 feet on either side of the cutaway bank, was open range. There were a lot of cattle down in there and a lot of horses. Mm-hmm. And so they'd ride through Sanford coming from headquarters down into that river bottom, and I always wanted to be like them. Mr. Whiteside was Mrs. Sanford's brother, and he was running the ranch. And he came into town one day and he wanted some boys to help him build a fence. Well, paid 50 cents a day.
I've built fence. I know that is very inexpensive.
But in those days, my big deal was to find enough jackrabbits to feed my coon dogs so I could go coon hunting at night. And so shells, long rifle hollow point shells were 57 cents a box. Well, that was a big bunch of money. There wasn't any way I could get 57 cents, but I was going to get 50 cents a day building fence. In a week, I'd buy a bunch of 22 shells.
It sure was.
Well, I didn't have any gloves. And I came home that first day and my hands were sore and they were bleeding and I was complaining. I was about 14 years old. And Mother said, you have a couple of choices. You can either ask Mr. Whiteside for a raise so you can afford to buy some gloves, or you can continue to do what you told him you'd do. Now, if he says he's not going to give you a raise, you still have a couple of choices. You can either do what you told him you'd do, or you can quit. And if you can quit, you're never going to get those gloves. You're never going to be able to buy your 22 shells. So think about that. Do what you told the man you'd do for the amount of money you told him you'd do it for.